Alright, double check, make sure I am online. Just to make absolute sure. Yes, we are online. Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History. What happened today in history? My co-host is MIA right now, so going to have to be doing this solo until he shows up if he does. Historical calendar and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. I am A.O. Xander, and Mr. Senor Luncty Santa Cruz is down there and doing whatever it is that he's doing. But anyway, let's start us off here. Today is Saturn's Day, also known as Saturday, March 19th, 2022. In the year 1277, the Byzantine-Venetian Treaty of 1277 was concluded, stipulating a 2-year truce and renewing Venetian commercial privileges in the Byzantine Empire. 2 years later, in 1279, a Mongol victory at the Battle of Yamen ended the Song dynasty in China. And we jump on up to 1284, the Statute of Rhuddlan incorporated the Principality of Wales into England. And in 1452, Frederick III of Habsburg was the last Holy Roman Emperor crowned by medieval tradition in Rome by Pope Nicholas V. Let's see here. Over 100 years later, in 1563, the Edict of Amboise was signed, ending the first phase of the French Wars of Religion and granting certain freedoms to the Huguenots. Another about 100-year jump going up into 1649, the House of Commons of England passed an act abolishing the House of Lords, declaring it, quote, useless and dangerous to the people of England, end quote. Well, I know a few things that's useless and dangerous to the people of the United States, to England, Germany, Australia, Canada, to the whole world, you know. But nobody's got the balls to do anything about it. You just hope voting will magically change things. No. Actions speak louder than words, people. Time to nut up or shut up. Jumping up into 1687, explorer Robert Cavalier de la Salle, searching for the mouth of the Mississippi River, was murdered by his own men. Oh, I wonder what he did. Why was he murdered? Let me look that up here. Where is my... There it is. Okay. Why was murdered? Let's see here. Well, it's not telling me anything about that. Oh, here, deception and murder. Okay, well, I'm not going to figure anything out. I'm not going to go on a potential wild goose hunt while live on air. Jumping up into 1808, Charles IV, King of Spain, abdicated after riots and a popular revolt at the Winter Palace, Aranjuez. His son, Ferdinand VII, took his throne. 4 years later, in 1812, the courts of Cadiz promulgated the Spanish Constitution of 1812. Cool. Jumping on up to 1831, the first documented bank heist in U.S. history occurred, in which burglars stole about $245,000 in 1831 value from the Citibank, which is now Citibank, on Wall Street. Most of the money was recovered. But how much was that in 1831? So $245,000. What year again? 31. 1831 is $7,917,386.21 today. Inflation. Moving on up to 1853, the Taiping Reform Movement occupied and made Nanjing its capital until 1864. Only lasted about 11 years, so interesting. Moving on up into 1861, the first Taranaki War ended in New Zealand. Taranaki War. What is a Taranaki War? Let me look it up real quick. And I hope the music is not too loud. I have it as low as I could possibly make it. Taranaki War. The Taranaki War was an armed conflict over land ownership and sovereignty that took place between Maori and the New Zealand government in the Taranaki district of New Zealand's North Island from March 1860 to March 1861. So, pretty much like a full year, give or take. Oh my God, 17 of March 1860 through 18 of March 1861. So it's a year and a day. A year and a day. That is intriguing. I'm going to add this to the underbar real quick. If you, let's see here. Add this to the underbar. I do not have a co-host today, unfortunately, to distract you.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Welcome, welcome. There he is.
Unfortunately, the bank job was way more than we bargained for.
Ah, yeah, they usually always are. I actually was just talking about a bank robbery a couple articles before.
Yeah. But yeah, we did. We weren't doing this one. We did multiple. So we had the idea to go to the first bank first and work our way in.
Well, I'm glad that you've achieved success. Why don't you take 1863 here?
1863, the SS Georgian, said to have been the most powerful Confederate cruiser, is destroyed on her maiden voyage with a cargo, munitions, medicines, and merchandise they valued over $1 million.
Whoa!
That's horrible.
Did you have anything to do with that?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was GTA I was on, I read that.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Moving on up in 1865, during the American Civil War, the Battle of Bentonville began. By the end of this battle, which took 2 days, the Confederate forces had retreated from Four Oaks, North Carolina. So,
Now, also 1885, Louis Rail declares a provisional government in Saskatchewan, beginning the Northwest Rebellion.
ooh. Cool. 15 years later, in 1900, the British archaeologist Sir Arthur John Evans began excavating Croesus Palace, the center of Cretan civilization. Cretan. Right?
Also, 1918, U.S. Congress establishes time zones and improves daylight savings time. Fuck you for daylight savings time.
Yeah, well, Biden's going to be getting rid of it. So, 2 years
Why?
later. Why do you not want daylight savings time?
Too late. No, we're already used to it.
Well, get ready for a change. Buckle up, buckaroo.
Also, 1921, the Irish War of Independence, one of the biggest engagements in the war, takes place at Crossbarry County Court. About 100 Irish Republican Army volunteers escaped an attempt over 1,300 British forces to encircle them.
Dang. We skipped one here in 1920, in which the United States Senate rejected the Treaty of Versailles for the second time. The first one was on November 19th, 1919. What the hell? I mean, that makes sense because, you know, by then we were taken over by the central bank and all that stuff, and that's not what the powers that be want. I had no idea that we accepted the treaty. We rejected the Treaty of Versailles not once but twice. You know, let me look that up real quick. How many times did the U.S. reject the Treaty of Versailles? Let's see here. In November, Lodge sent to the Senate floor for a treaty with 14 reservations, but no amendments. In the Senate rejects Treaty of Versailles. Okay, but how many? Here we go. Without his leadership, the Senate twice rejected the treaty by votes of 38 to 53 in 1919 and 49 to 35 in 1920. The United States never joined the League of Nations. We never were in there? Wow. Huh. Anyway, moving on up to 1931, Governor Fred B. Balzar signed a bill legalizing gambling in Nevada. Oh, here we go. Like, Vegas.
Okay, 1932, the Sydney Harbor Bridge is opened.
Cool. Yeah, it's a really iconic bridge. Let's see here. 11 years later, in 1943, Frank Nitti, the Chicago outfit boss after Al Capone, committed suicide at the Chicago Central Rail Yard. Ooh. Couldn't take it.
Sure.
Those were big Italian shoes to fill. Mamma mia.
Sure. Suicide in a train yard.
Epstein.
Also, 1944, World War II, the German army occupies Hungary.
Moving on up to 1945, also during World War II, Adolf Hitler issued his Nero Decree ordering all industries, military installations, shops, transportation facilities, and communications facilities in Germany to be destroyed. Most likely because, he was about to lose. So.
Also in 1945, World War II, off the coast of Japan, a dive bomber hits the aircraft USS Franklin, killing 724 of her crew, badly damaged. The ship is able to return to the U.S. under her own power.
Well, that's good. I think we lost, how many aircraft, how many CVs did the U.S. lose during World War II? How many aircraft carriers? No, not. I don't want to know how many were built. How many aircraft carriers did America lose in World War II? We lost 5 fleet carriers, a seaplane tender, and 6 escort carriers. The loss of the Bismarck Sea was the last time a U.S. carrier went down due to enemy action. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
1946.
Also,
Go ahead.
Also in 1946, France, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and Reunion become overseas departments of France.
Ooh.
They have Reunion.
Yeah. 1958, the Monarch Underwear Company fire left 24 dead and 15 injured. That sucks. Dying in a facility that makes underwear. That's a horrible way to go.
Mm-hmm. Also in 1962, the Algerian War of Independence ends.
I wonder if they got independence. 1964, over 500,000 Brazilians attended the March of the Family with God for Liberty in protest against the government of João Goulart and against communism.
Damn. Also in 1965, the wreck of the SS Georgian valued over $50 million and said to have been the most powerful Confederate cruiser is discovered by teenage diver and pioneer underwater archaeologist E. Lee Spence exactly 102 years after its destruction.
I gotta look this up. SS Georgiana. Was it just a boat? Well, here's a submarine. That's a Hunley, though. It's not giving me a picture. It's just showing me all these other random ships. Oh well, I guess we're not gonna see it. Jumping on up to 1979, the United States House of Representatives began broadcasting its day-to-day business via the cable television network C-SPAN.
Damn. Also in 1982, the Falklands War, Argentinian forces land on South Georgia Island, participating in war with the United Kingdom.
Precipitating, which, let me just double check what that means. I think I know what it means, but... Precipitating is the cause, an event, or situation, typically one that is bad or undesirable, to happen suddenly, unexpectedly, or prematurely. So, yeah, Argentina forced the United Kingdom's hand for war, so that's not a smart move. 7 years later, in 1989, the Egyptian flag was raised at Taba, marking the end of Israeli occupation since the 6 Days War in 1967 and the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty in 1979. Israel Defense Forces always go on the offensive, then they're not defense forces, are they?
Also in 1990, the ethnic clash of Taranaki War began 4 days after the anniversary of the revolution of 1848 in the Austrian Empire.
8 years later, in 1998, the Ariana Afghan Airlines Boeing 727 crashed on approach to Kabul International Airport, killing all 45 on board. God, can we have one day without a plane crash, please? God damn.
2001, German trade union Verdi is formed.
Interesting. 365 days later, in 2002, Zimbabwe was suspended from the Commonwealth on charges of human rights abuses and of electoral fraud following a turbulent presidential election. That sounds interesting and familiar.
2004 March 19th shooting incident. The Republic of China, Taiwan. President Xi Biden is shot just before the country's presidential election on March 20th. Sure. Incident.
Yeah.
Well,
Also in 2004, during the Catalina affair, a Swedish DC-3 was shot down by a Soviet MiG-15 in 1952 over the Baltic Sea, and it was finally recovered after years of work. So I guess this is when they recovered it. So interesting.
In 2008, GRB 080319b, a cosmic burst that is the farthest object visible to the naked eye is briefly observed.
Wow. Let me look that up real quick. GRB 080319b was a gamma ray burst detected by the Swiss satellite at 6:12 UTC on March 19, 2008. The burst set a new record for the farthest object that was observable with the naked eye. It had a peak visual apparent magnitude of 5.7 and remained visible to human eyes for approximately 30 seconds. Its distance is 7.5 billion light years. Whoa! That is incredible. Oh, and that's the end of the articles today. Any articles speak your interest?
No, we're not. No, we got more.
Oh.
We got 2011.
Oh. Wow, I screwed up at some point then.
That's okay. In 2011 Libyan civil war, after the failure of Muammar Gaddafi's forces to take Benghazi, the French Air Force launched Operation Hammamet, beginning foreign military intervention in Libya.
I guess I did not double check at the end. My bad. Once again, I screwed up.
That's okay.
Okay. 2013, a series of bombings and shootings caused the deaths of at least 98 people and injured 240 more across Iraq. Ugh. Not good.
Damn. In 2016, Fly Dubai Flight 981 crashes while attempting to land at Rostov-on-Don International Airport, killing all 62 on board.
Yeah. I'm getting tired of these plane crashes. It's just, yeah, too much death. In 2016 as well, an explosion occurred in Taksim Square in Istanbul, Turkey, killing 5 people and injuring 36.
And in 2018, the last male northern white rhinoceros sedan dies, enduring a chance of extinction for the species.
Yeah, until humans decide to get their god-playing hands all over it and clone it, and, you know. Yeah, it's sad to see things go, but you know what? 99.99999 continuing, of course, percent of all species that has ever lived on this planet are all extinct, and we haven't had a hand in the majority of them, you know? Like, maybe the dodo, yeah, but, like, come on, you know?
The dodo was a flightless bird.
Yep, it was.
It was gonna fucking die regardless.
Yep. Well, what about ostriches, emus, what's the weird one in South America with a big old blah thing? South American flightless bird. Let me look that up real quick. While I'm doing that, why don't you tell us any articles intrigue you?
The SS Georgian, how it got destroyed, and then their treasures found years later.
Here we go.
About a century later.
What is this? Why is it not cassowary? Is it a cassowary? Oh, why isn't it? Whatever. Anyway, somebody will tell me what this is. I think that's a cassowary. Yeah, as for me, my article, I'd have to say the one in 2008, the gamma ray burst. That was intense. Anyway, why don't you start us off with bursts today?
Yeah, I'm gonna start us off with bursts today. In 1206, Gurukid Khan, Mongol ruler who was the third great Khan of the Mongol Empire.
1641, we have Abd al-Ghani al-Banusli, a Syrian author and scholar.
1739, Charles Francis Lebrun du the Parstons, French lawyer and politician.
1742, Tupac Amaru II, a Peruvian rebel leader. That's an interesting name, Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think he got his name from.
Oh. That is an interesting idea.
Also, 1748, Elias Hicks, American farmer, minister, and theologian.
Yeah, that's an interesting last name, Hicks.
Yeah.
1778, Edward Pakenham was born to date. He was an Anglo-Irish general and politician, but I wonder if he packed hams. You know, he's always a packing ham. You know, look at him, he's always packing his hams. I don't know.
Also, 1813, David Livingstone, Scottish missionary explorer, Dr. Livingstone, I presume.
And I looked this up earlier. I believe this is the same guy, the Dr. Livingstone, I presume thing. So, 1848, Wyatt Earp, American police officer. And I've actually been to Tombstone recently. I stood in the area where those guys got gunned down. The most famous gunfight in all of Western history. I've been there. Interesting place.
Damn.
Yeah.
Also, 1849, Alfred von Trips, German admiral and politician.
1865, William Morton Wheeler, an American entomologist, myrmecologist, and academic. Now, entomology, that sounds familiar, but I want to look that up one more time. Entomologist is a person who studies or is an expert in the branch of zoology concerned with insects. Now, a myrmecologist, I've never heard before. It is a branch of entomology focusing on the scientific study of ants. Some early myrmecologists considered ant society as the ideal form of society and sought to find solutions to human problems by studying them. And Dad and I have conversations about things like that all the time. It's kind of interesting. Who else was born today? Mr. Lunk?
Who was born today? Estherine Rose, American librarian and advocate.
And when was she born?
1880.
Ah. Well, in 1894, we have Moms Mabley, an American comedian and singer. And I've never heard of anybody named Moms before. That's interesting. So.
Also, in 1906, Adolf Erckmann, German SS officer.
1906, we have Clara Breed, a U.S. librarian and activist.
Also, 1909, Marjorie Linklater, Scottish campaigner for the arts and environment of Orkney.
1912, we have Hugh Watt, an Australian New Zealand engineer and politician who was a Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Also, 1928, Patrick McGowan, Irish U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter.
1932, we have Gay Brewer, a U.S. golfer. I wonder if he ever made any homosexual beer.
In 1932, Gail Colby, U.S. actress and producer.
Not even a ha for my joke? Come on. Thank you. 1938, we have Joe Kapp, a U.S. football player, coach, and actor. No cap. I don't even know what the hell that means, but, you know, whatever.
Okay, cap means lie in today's world.
Oh. Why?
So no cap means he's not lying.
Oh. Okay, well. I'm not lying.
So in 1944, Saud Musa, Belizean lawyer and politician who was the 5th Prime Minister of Belize.
Now that's what she said. 1945, we have John Holder, an English cricketer and umpire, and I wonder if he held the score. Kind of did.
1945, we have Modesta Parluska, Lithuanian basketball player and coach.
I wonder if he was modest. You know, modestas? Modest?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. My jokes are bad. 365 days later, in 1946, Ruth Pointer was born. She was a Jewish musician, and I wonder if she ever did point to the crowd. She's a pointer, you know.
1947, Glenn Close, U.S. actor, singer, and producer.
That name sounds familiar. And then
It is. She's an actress. She played Cruella de Vil in the live action.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I remember that. 1948, we have David Schnitter, U.S. saxophonist and educator, and that last name is almost really unfortunate.
Yeah. Also in 1952, we have Harvey Weinstein, U.S. director, producer, and Predator.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Involved with Predator. 1955, Bruce Willis, a German U.S. actor and producer.
I didn't know he was German.
I didn't either. That caught me off guard today.
1956, Igor Gaidar, Russian economist and politician who was the first deputy prime minister of Russia.
1978, we have Sidonie Mothersile, a Jamaican Canadian sprinter. Oh, and that's the end of verse. Today, starting us off in 235, we have Severus Alexander, a Roman emperor.
And in 953, we have Al-Mansur B. Nasir Allah, Caliphate of the Fatimid Caliphate.
1238, we have Henry the Bearded, a Polish duke and son of Boleslaw I the Tall. We have a tall person, a bearded person, you know. That's interesting. I'm bearded.
Also in 1286, Alexander III, King of Scotland.
Lupin III. 1330, we have Edmund of Woodstock, first Earl of Kent, English politician who was a Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports.
Yep. Also, 1687, René Robert Cavalier, Sieur de la Salle, French-American explorer.
In the year 1717, John Campbell died to date. He was the first Earl of Breadalbane in Holland, a Scottish soldier.
Yeah. Also, 1790, Jezza Yuri Gazi Handan Pasha, Ottoman general and politician who was the 82nd Grand Vizier of the Ottoman Empire. Wow, Grand Vizier, I like that name. So close to Grand Wizard.
Yeah, well, Jafar was a Grand Vizier, right? From Aladdin?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a Vizier, yes.
Yeah. And also, bless you. That name sounded like a sneeze. Well, speaking of sneezy names, in 1871 we have Wilhelm Karl Ritter von Hayedinger. Pardon me. Australian mineralogist, geologist, and physicist. I shouldn't make fun of this guy's name. He's dead. I should have some more respect.
Also, in 1987, Anton Thompson d'Abadi, Irish-French geographer, anthropologist, linguist, and astronomer.
1914, we have Giuseppe Mercalli, an Italian priest, geologist, and volcanologist. And I wonder...
yes, it's him. Mercalli scale, yeah.
Okay. Oh, my question has been answered.
He's a volcanologist, so, yeah, geologist. So,
well, do you know that for a fact, or are you just assuming?
I'm guessing because he's a geologist. We could always check.
Let's see here. Who invented the Mercalli scale? It was developed in 1931 by the American seismologists Harry Wood and Frank Newman. The scale composed of increasing levels of intensity that range from imperceptible shaking to catastrophic destruction. It is designed by Roman numerals. What did Giuseppe Mercalli discover? So he did have some hand in development of an earthquake intensity scale, so I think this might be the same guy, but I'm not getting concrete evidence here. It's a little
also,
shaky.
1919, Emma Bells Miles, U.S. writer, poet, and artist of Appalachia.
Appalachia. What is Appalachia?
Appalachia.
Oh, Appalachian Mountains. Okay. Oh, that's up in the eastern area. Okay.
In West Virginia.
Yeah, Appalachia is a cultural region in the eastern United States that stretches from the southern tier of New York State to northern Alabama and Georgia. Interesting. In 1988, we have Nun Cook, a Canadian ice hockey player and coach.
Also in 1996, Virginia Henderson, U.S. nurse, researcher, theorist, and author.
2 years later, in 1998, EMS Namboodiripad died today. He was an Indian theorist and politician who was the first chief minister of Kerala. And what is his full name? Let me look that up. Oh God. Elam Kulam Manakal Sankaran Namboodiripad. Sounds like I'm casting a spell. Who died today in 2004, Mr. Lunk?
In 2004, Michael Sharp, Canadian economist and politician who was 23rd Canadian Minister of Finance.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if he was sharp as a tack, although it sounds like he was to get that job. 2005, we have John Delorean, unfortunately. He was a U.S. engineer and businessman who founded the Delorean Motor Company, and I say unfortunate because he designed probably one of the best-looking cars in all of the world. I mean, hell, it was used for a time machine. You can't have a better legacy than that.
Yeah, but it didn't go fast, though. Just 88 miles.
You know, you save on gas prices, you know? Like, you go fast, you burn gas faster. You know, he was an economist thinking ahead of the time.
Of course, the fucking DeLorean Doc Brown's DeLorean didn't use gas.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you know, you have to develop it with a Mr. Fusion, you know, and then that's a good way to recycle your biodegradable waste. So.
Yeah. Also, you're driving around in a fucking bomb.
I mean, you know, there's always some bad things with everything. Yeah. I can live with driving in a bomb if I can travel through time. That'd be pretty cool. Also in 2008, Arthur C. Clarke died to date. He was an English science fiction writer, and that name is a little familiar, so let me look him up real quick. 2001 A Space Odyssey. Okay, that's why. 2010 Odyssey 2. I didn't realize there was a sequel. Okay, so yeah, now we know. Who else died today?
Yeah. Who else died today was Carl Schofield. English actor. Schofield scale? No, I don't think so. I think a doctor made that.
Yeah.
But never mind.
Pharmacist.
Never mind.
Yeah, Scoville. Pharmacist Wilbur Scoville. Oh, Schofield. Okay, yeah, I didn't even have the name right. I am a dum-dum. Jumping on up to 2012, Jim Case was a U.S. director and producer. And I actually had a friend back in high school named Justin Case. And we called him JC. So.
I want the last one.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I'll take 2014. We had Patrick Joseph McGovern, U.S. businessman who founded IDG. AF?
Yeah. Also, 2014, Fred Phelps, U.S. lawyer, pastor, and activist who founded the stupid Westboro Baptist Church.
Yep.
They're cults, pretty much.
They are. Dude, they go around, they picketing soldiers' funerals and saying that they died because this country accepted homosexuality and it was a punishment by God. Are you out of your mind, dude? Like, ridiculous. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links that you may be interested in, which also include
Sohin TV on Twitch.
And everything Omni Coalition. For your dose of Passive Events Daily, we stream every day. Normally at 3, but sometimes we wibble wobble. So just, if you want to see us live, that's cool. But we always post on all of our platforms, so you can always catch us after the fact. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
I am Lunk.
And until you see us tomorrow, do not forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!